supposed to back to business as usual. And essentially, yesterday, I'm sure you all have seen and read somewhere that the owners had made an agreement that they like to try to end this strike. The owners put forth a proposal of things that they themselves deem to be what's in the best interest of the NFL. And essentially, the players right now are looking at what the owners have decided, and the players are pretty upset. The players are upset, I don't think, about what has been proposed to them. I think the players are upset because they don't want to be told what they have to do. They don't want to be told that they have to create a union again. They don't want to be told that this is a 10-year deal, take it or leave it. We want to be able to opt out of this deal if things are not going the right way. And not only that, the players are alerting us now that essentially the owners did this to the players this time around. And so the players are mad at the owners because the owners opt out of the collective bargaining agreement this year. And the players are like, why should we give you 10 years of peace when you didn't give us 10 years of peace? You just decided to opt out of a deal because you didn't like what was going on. And so the players want that option to be able to opt out of this deal. Now, do I agree with the players? Do I disagree with the players? To be honest with you, I'm confused by the players. And let me tell you why I'm confused by the players. At first, they've told us all that this whole thing was about 18-game schedule. They told us that this whole thing was about getting a bigger piece of the pie. They told us this thing was about making sure that veteran players are taken care of and that they will have health care and all these things for the future because of, unfortunately some of the players have passed on because of not being able to take care of themselves. And then all of a sudden, now we're finding out that this strike, this lockout, is about so many different things. It sounds like the players are fighting slavery. And it's ridiculous to me because it's like you're getting paid millions of dollars. And the owners just agreed to give you more money. And you still don't want to come back to this table and get this thing done. They already took the 18 games off the schedule. They have lessened the OTAs and two-a-day practices. They've given each team higher pay scales so that way they can pay players so that players aren't changing teams crazily. And you're mad because the owners want you to go back to being a union and not a bunch of individuals. And then this Vincent Jackson nonsense. Vincent Jackson is about to be paid $11.4 million for this season. One season. He's not even a Pro Bowl caliber receiver. I mean, he's good, and he makes great catches, but is he better than Andre Johnson? No. Is he more reliable than Wes Welker? No. And I don't understand what the problem is now. And I sit there and I listen to former players on ESPN talk about this thing, and they understand what the players are doing. They're like, yeah, man, yeah, they should be doing this. And it shocks me because the thing they've been talking about for months with this lockout, the owners have acquiesced. The owners are not making the players play 18 games. In fact, the owners say, we'll get your permission if we're going to increase games. We'll get your permission if we're going to decrease games. We'll get your permission to do anything to do with football. So I am perplexed that we're still having this conversation. I am perplexed because of the fact that there are players who have injuries who can't get into facilities to have these injuries taken care of. I mean, Peyton Manning just had neck surgery, and he can't even go in to see the team trainer to assess his conditions. Now, I can understand the players saying we want to take some time to, read this over more and all this nonsense. But the bottom line is, if you read just the reports that you read, it sounds like the players are making out pretty darn good in this deal. And it's absolutely puzzling to me that we're still having this conversation. And it's all right now, in my opinion, it's about pride. The players feel you guys have humiliated us to the American public. The players feel, and this is my opinion, I'm just one man, that the owners essentially took away their ball and told the players they can't play. And now the owners want to give the ball back, and the players say, you know what, I don't want to play. You're not going to tell us how we should agree. You're not going to tell us what we should agree. And here I am sitting in this lovely studio on this cool, gorgeous Friday afternoon, rocking my LT jersey, all excited to talk football and talk about what teams need in the upcoming season and talk about what kind of season it's going to be in the NFL. And we can't even do that because these players are upset. And now even the owners are starting to get upset because the owners are like, whoa, whoa, whoa. We're not going back to the table. We're giving you this as what we think is the best thing for you. We're giving you more money. We're giving you, less practice time. We're even cut rookie salaries so that we've let veterans not have to pay 6 years for contracts, 4-year contracts, which works perfectly because the average professional career is only 3.5 years. We're doing all these things for you, and you're going to hold us up because of your pride, because you don't want to sign cards that makes you a union again. I don't understand the mindset of the athletes today. I understand if I was in the same position as these athletes, I'd sit back long and hard and think about what has been said and what has been done. But the reality is, this situation should be over. We should be talking about free agency. We should be talking about teams, who are getting ready. We should be talking about the Green Bay Packers and how they're getting ready for the defense of their Super Bowl championship. We should talk about the other stories in this league. And now you're going to have, because of this delay, now you're going to have teams who have new coaches, new coordinators, new quarterbacks. I think there's 20 teams are starting out with new coordinators who have to implement their systems. And I saw something yesterday in the NFL Network, which I found very interesting. Steve Mariucci was talking about how everyone's talking about in the college game, college football season starts, they got 29 days of practice before the first game. The NFL right now is flirting with 43 days before practice starts, before the first games. So they should be able to get it done, right? Because in college, you only get 29 games. But here's the difference. Most colleges start out by playing, the Sisters of the Poor. Or they start not to disrespect, but they play like, lesser opponents. So that way they can work on some things before they start playing the big games. Now this year in college, there's some really good opening games with LSU playing Oregon and Georgia playing BYU. But this situation is beyond bizarre. And we're going to talk more about it and talk about the other ugly, which is the NBA on 89.7 KLAS FM after this. So I'm sitting and clicking